ever read Proust?
Hi, I'm Evan Sadi for PopMatters, and we're sitting here today with Greg Allen of the Futurists. Right now, they are currently in their 23rd year of existence, doing Too Much Like Makes the Baby Go Blind, and we're here to ask them a few questions, so we'll jump right into that. So first off, now this started out at something you did at Oberlin College, and then eventually were able to make it out here. Guide us through the process of how we got basically from there to, in 1988, to where it started to where we are right now in 2011.
Yeah, when I was at Oberlin, I got turned on to the Italian Futurists very much by their manifestos, their short plays. The history, just kind of the fiery rhetoric was very fun to play around with. So I got the idea of staging an evening of brief Italian Futurist plays.
Program menu, you are in charge of this show, and here's how. Look at these titles. Look at these titles on this list. Find the title that intrigues you. Look at the list. Don't look at me. Look at the list. Look to the number to the left of that intriguing title and call that number out now. Okay, now we've memorized that order. We'll jump up.
And so we did that, and it went over really well, and then we did it again, it went over really well. It's like, oh, there's something to this. Skip forward a couple of years, I went to the National Theater Institute at the Eugene O'Neill Center, and wound up coming back to Chicago. I grew up here in Chicago, and was really frustrated by trying to write the Great American Play as 2 hours long with 3 acts. So I really latched on to the brevity and kind of harshness, the kind of shock of these Italian Futurist plays. And so I set out for myself to write 3 short scenarios for plays as quickly as possible on a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper every day for months, basically.
Kiss and tell, I full frontal disclosure, play and go!
That's my wife.
So I was able to do a staged reading of these short pieces I'd written. At that point, I called it Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind, and that went over well. So I kind of came up with the idea of combining the Italian Futurist plays, brevity, structure to a certain degree with my own short pieces. And then I had my own aesthetic, which now we call neo-futurism, which I'd been kicking around in a lot of my work for years at that point. And so all those things kind of came together into 30 plays in 60 minutes with a crazy title, and doing it at 11 o'clock on Friday and Saturday nights. And there you go.
That's where we go.
The task Greg must perform is to take this table, turn it upside down, put it right here, take this podium, put it over the table, like so, and then knock on the podium. Now, Greg is going to perform this task with our help, and he can only be led to do this through positive reinforcement. So when he comes in, you must clap if he is doing anything that gets him closer to producing this and doing that. If he is not doing anything that gets him closer to that, then you should not do anything at all.
One of the interesting things is that you kind of, before each show, you specifically mention that you're not supposed to, they're not playing characters. Everyone is essentially playing themselves. We're not going to be playing Romeo, we're not going to be doing any of those things. We are who we are.
Right.
Now, why do you choose with that particular aesthetic?
The basic idea is to always be ourselves on stage in front of an interactive audience so that there is no separation between the stage and the audience. When you look at what really makes theater unique in the world of art, there's a visceral connection between the people on stage and the people in the audience that you don't get with movies or television or whatever. And yet so many people in theater are not really latching on to that. A lot of theaters, you sit in the dark, they create a fourth wall, they play characters and illusion and all that.
And it's the same performance every night.
And it's the same performance every night. So in order to really make theater about a communication between the audience and the performers, between people in general, I felt like the aesthetic of neo-futurism, the aim is really to wipe away all artifice, wipe away anything that would distance the audience from the performers.
I'm speechless. Thank you so
what is the appeal to it? What keeps a lot of people, especially people that aren't necessarily interested in theater, coming into it, the non-theater crowd, as it were?
I think it's an unreproducible event. I think it's got the reputation of being fun, even though we do very serious work and experimental work that throws people off base. I think it's affordable, it's intimate, it's immediate. I think it really speaks to people's lives very directly. So unlike going to traditional theater where you have to get dressed up and spend $40 and sit there and try to identify with some other people in another time, in another place, trying to get some meaning from the metaphor of that. Instead, it's almost like we're throwing a party, a very intellectual party, I would say, here at the theater every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, and people want to come be a part of that.
When I interviewed a guy from the band The Mulstering Republic, he was blown away by the idea that he was there performing live on stage, doing songs, and someone in the front row was still texting. It's a short set, it's 50 minutes. He could not believe that people were still responding to that. Now, it's one of the ones where, like, have you noticed at all that, like, the attention span of people has changed at all throughout the years?
When we opened this show in 1988, people said, oh, it's short attention span theater, and still here in 2011, people are saying, oh, it's short attention, it's great for the kids who were into MTV. In 88 it was MTV, and now it's like, oh, YouTube, it's only,
that hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed. I mean, I think certainly the world moves faster, we're able to take in sound bites better, but it's nothing new since the 80s or even the 60s. People often quibble with us about whether what we do is a play, right? Are these 30 plays or something else? And I always say, well, if you can get a lot of meaning across in a short poem or a 2-minute song, why can't we do the same thing in plays?
A woman works for a park, managing the cleaning and restoration of an architectural landmark.
A man investigates new ways to help teachers teach better. He studies screenwriting after hours.
A woman designs hats, sweaters, scarves, gloves. She teaches knitting once a week during the evenings.
A couple has a baby.
They have a home and maybe a pet.
They work and love one another.
You wake up, eat some food, go someplace, do something.